That's some group. Some group. Winning is a good thing, isn't it? Winning. It's a good thing. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's fantastic. A lot of power in this room. Wow. A lot of power. Thank you, Kevin, for your friendship and for your devotion to our nation. I'm delighted to be here with so many terrific Republican members of Congress. You really are terrific people. I especially want to thank our amazing leadership team, Republican whip and one of the bravest men I know, Steve Scalise. Steve, thank you very much. Conference Chair Liz Cheney. Thank you, Liz. NRCC Chair Tom Emmer. Tom. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. And Chief Deputy Whip Drew Ferguson. Yeah, great job. Thank you, Drew. Great job. I also want to proudly welcome our newest Republican congressman, two people that fought a big fight for the last number of months, and they're winners. They reacted so incredibly under pressure. The whole world was watching. A lot of people were hoping for the opposite outcome, but many more people were hoping for the outcome that we had. A man who wasn't expected necessarily to win, and then he got in gear, and he was brutal and brilliant, and he did a great job. Now soon to be, and now Congressman Dan Bishop for many years. Thank you, Dan. Dan, thank you. What a great job. What a great job, Dan. And another man who fought so hard, and he was supposed to win by a little tiny bit, couple of points, and he won by a lot of points. That was a big victory, and I want to just congratulate you. Greg Murphy is going to be with you folks for a long time. These two people are special people. North Carolina, thank you, North Carolina. There were some crowds that turned out. They turned out like people never expected, and they were, that was just a great evening of television. I wouldn't say the fake news was too happy with the outcome, but that's okay. That's okay. We did it, and we worked together as a team, and it was very inspirational for a lot of people to watch. Everyone here tonight has a critical role to play at the vital crossroads of our nation. Democrats in Congress have embraced an extreme, destructive, and dangerous agenda, radical socialism and open borders. Democrats are determined to replicate the most catastrophic failures of world history right here in the United States. They've never learned. They haven't watched. Each of you in the House Republican Conference is on the front lines defending American freedom, American security, American prosperity, and the American way of life. You're the ones, you're doing the defense. Hundreds of millions of our fellow citizens are counting on us, and so help us God, we will never, ever let them down. Together, we're going to fight historic battles, and we have historic battles ahead of us. Going to make our country even greater. And we're going to win overwhelming victories for the American people. The spirit that we have in the Republican Party, I don't believe has ever been this high. Over the past 2.5 years, we've already delivered unprecedented progress for citizens of every background and every walk of life. Now we must go directly to the American people to share the story of what we have achieved and to explain our bold vision for the future. Working with Republicans in Congress, we slashed 30,000 pages of regulations from the Federal Register. And that is an all-time record, and we did that in a lot less years. That's an all-time record no matter how long a president served. We saved an average American household $3,000. Earlier today, my administration formally repealed the horrible, dangerous, anti-everything waters of the United States rule. Government will no longer try to micromanage every rain puddle and every drainage ditch on private land. They took your land away from you. Together, we enacted the VA Accountability Act so that anyone who mistreats or abuses our great veterans can be promptly fired. There was a time you couldn't fire anyone, no matter how they treated our veterans, whether they stole or they were sadists, and we had some of them too. You couldn't fire them. And now we can do it very, very quickly and easily. They don't treat our veterans well. We get them out. Since then, we've removed more than 7,600 employees who failed to give our vets the care that they so richly deserve. You know, what will go is these people will run out and they'll start trying to find somebody who is unhappy. Thousands and hundreds of thousands of people. Who's unhappy? Please call us immediately. And that's the problem. But I will tell you, people are really happy. What we've done there is incredible. America, I will tell you, is respected again. Our nation is stronger today than ever before. We have the greatest equipment. We have people with spirit like they haven't had. But we now have the greatest equipment. When I came in 2.5 years ago, our equipment was old and tired. Our ammunition was low. Our planes didn't fly well. Many of them didn't fly at all. Now we have beautiful new planes and jets and fighter jets and bombers, and we have everything. And hopefully we don't have to use them too much, and maybe we don't have to use them at all. But we have the greatest military we've ever had. Iran is a much different country than it was 2.5 years ago. But they were saying, we don't see any American ships. There are no American. Number one, they wouldn't take them. They better not take them. And number two, we don't have too many there. We used to be flooded. We used to get everything there. And now it's a whole different story. We're very energy independent. Thanks to the entire Republican team in Congress, we passed the biggest tax cut and reform in American history. And we're now working on a middle tax, we're working on a tax cut for the middle-income people that is going to be very, very inspirational. It's going to be something that I think it's what everyone's really looking for, and we'll be announcing it sometime in the next year. But it'll be a very, very substantial tax cut for middle-income folks who work so hard, and we'll look forward to that. We're going to work on it all together. And you see what the other tax cuts done. And frankly, I'm not sure, but I would say that the regulation cuts, those massive cuts in regulation, we still have plenty of regulation, but those massive cuts probably equal the tax cuts in terms of jobs and in terms of businesses. So the combination of everything really worked because we probably have, right now, the strongest economy in the history of our nation. And where the media is trying to begging, oh, they want a recession so badly. Oh, the word. And every time they go after us, you notice, the market goes up. It's the craziest thing. We're going to have to explain this one to me. But we're doing great. We're very close to having another stock market record. Went up again today. And we had, I think it's over 100 records. In other words, days where the stock market hit in the history of our country all-time highs. I think it's over 100. I'll get you the exact number, but it is really something. And we are very close. And after, about 3 weeks ago, if you listened, it was like doom and gloom. I don't think they believed it, but that's okay. And I will tell you, we're doing very well with China. China would like to do something. We're taking in billions and billions of tariffs, and they're eating the cost. This is not being borne very much by us. They're eating the costs. But we're taking in billions and billions, money flowing in. We've never taken in 10 cents from China. and they want to do something because their supply lines, their supply chains are being broken like toys, and people are leaving, and millions of jobs in China are being lost. And we don't want that, but we want a fair deal. We lowered our business tax from one of the highest in the world to one of the most competitive. Since that law was passed, nearly $1 trillion have returned to our shores. $1 trillion. It was part of what we did. We eliminated Obamacare's cruel and unpopular individual mandate. Since our election in 2016, we've created more than 6 million new jobs, including over 1 million manufacturing, energy, and construction jobs. Remember when President Obama said, no, forget the manufacturing, not going to happen. Well, we have almost 600,000 just in terms of manufacturing jobs, and nobody thought that was possible. And frankly, as soon as we get the trade stuff perfect, just the way we want it, we'll only sign it when it's good, really good. Wait till you see what happens with this economy. We are ready to really rock it even more. We've done very well. You go from election night, the day after, take November 9th, and you look at the numbers on stock markets, over 50%. 401ks are through the roof. People come up to me all the time, thank you, sir, my 401k is up 72%. It's up whatever it may be, numbers that they've never had before. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And this is when we're fighting people on trade, when we have this great military, and we defend countries that are immensely wealthy, and they don't help us out. They don't pay us for almost anything. And we're talking to those countries. They're our friends, they're our allies. Sometimes our allies treat us worse than anybody else, but we can't let that happen, and they don't want to let that happen. I always say, tell me, why are we defending you free? Or why are we defending you for a tiny fraction of what it costs? And then you take advantage of the United States for many years on trade. So we get killed with trade, we get killed with defending your nation. Tell me, Mr. President, tell me, Mr. Prime Minister, tell me, King or Queen, why are we protecting your country? And you take advantage of us on trade. And they go, but nobody has ever asked me that question before. I said, tell me why. They can't think of an answer. The only thing they say all the time, because it has always been that way. I said, well, it's not going to be that way any longer. You got to pay. It's true. We gathered tonight to celebrate these extraordinary gains. We've done things that I don't think any administration has even come close in the first 2.5 years. We have done things that very, very few have even thought about doing. But we also meet to prepare for the coming fight, because the traditions and beliefs that have made the American dream possible are under attack like never before. You've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. House Democrats are pursuing the most radical far-left program ever put forward in that historic chamber. It's the Democrats and it's the media. We're fighting two battles. The Democrats and the media. It's as if they're one, because they are one. They're working together, they're colluding, and they're obstructing. With the grim specter of socialism descending on the Democrat Party, it's up to all of us to ensure the survival of American liberty. We have a big task. We have a very big task. Don't forget, people say, oh, you're going to beat this one or that one, and they're so far left. It's very hard to beat a socialist when you have a very wealthy country. We have a very wealthy country. And when they say, we're going to give away your health care, we're going to do free education, we're going to cut student loan debt down to nothing, $1.6 trillion out the window, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Everything's given away. And then they say, oh, we don't have to raise your taxes too much. If you paid 5 times what people are paying right now, you wouldn't come close. And, we're working very hard on a place called Venezuela. 15 years ago, it was one of the wealthiest countries in the world. And today they don't have food. They don't have water. They don't have anything. They don't have anything. We're sending things to help them. We have to on a humanitarian basis. And we're working with Colombia and other nations to help the people that have been able to essentially escape. But that was socialism. And look what happened to them in a short period of time. On issue after issue, Americans must choose between two fundamentally different visions that will define our nation for many generations to come. More than 130 Democrats in Congress have signed up for the Bernie Sanders total government takeover of health care. Crazy Bernie, he is a crazy guy. Which would dramatically raise middle-class taxes, eliminate private health insurance for 180 million Americans, and destroy Medicare forever. Republicans will always protect Medicare for our great seniors who earned it and they paid for it. And we will always protect patients with pre-existing conditions. 228 House Democrats voted to put America back into the disastrous Paris Climate Accord. How's that working out for Paris? How's that one working out for France? The Yellow Vests. They didn't like all that money being sent to people that they never heard of the country from which they came. And hasn't been working out well, but that would have been a disaster for us. It would have cost us a tremendous fortune. They were going to take away our wealth. They were going to say we can't do certain businesses. We can't take the oil and gas. We can't do anything. This would have been one of the great travesties. And, you know, incredibly, that and the Clean Waters Act, which didn't give you clean waters. By the way, today we have the cleanest air, we have the cleanest water that we've ever had in the history of our country right now. And just for the press, because they'll get me on that one, I'm thinking, let's say the history of our country over the last 25 years. You know, I would say that the first few years they probably had cleaner air and cleaner water because there was nobody here. So I have to be very accurate. But they'll put it on anyway. They won't put, right, Louis? They won't put the second part on. They won't put the explanation on. But we do. We have clean air. We have clean water. The Paris Accord would do nothing to improve our environment. It would only punish our country while foreign polluters operate with impunity. Isn't it incredible? You look at China, you look at India, you look at Russia, you look at so many other places. There's smokestacks are pouring out, everything's pouring out. And I want to be clean, and we're going to be clean. But isn't it sort of naive? And then they talk about plastic straws. I said, what about the plate? What about the wrapper that's made out of a much tougher plastic? What about all the other plastic? Well, we haven't gotten to that, just straws. That's the only thing we're worried about. Someday you'll explain that to me, Louis. I'm sure you're a big environmentalist. Can you explain the straw? No, I don't think so. Nobody else can either. By the way, you know who else can't? They can't. They can't explain it. Over 100 Democrats have signed up to support the $100 trillion Green New Deal. That's a beauty. No more cows, no more planes. I guess no more people, right? Because Kevin is just like a cow, he's just smaller. I had to pick somebody for that one, Kevin, and I just looked at that beautiful political face of yours, you know. There's a little truth to that. But this Green New Deal is crazy. Now they're talking about it tonight. I see hardened Democrat politicians that have, you know, been smart. And I say, it's incredible. They're standing behind AOC. I call her Cortez because you don't have enough time to go through the whole name. I just call Cortez. They don't like that when you call her Cortez, but her name is Cortez, too long. Or I call her AOC. Then I call the others AOC plus 3. They don't like that. AOC plus 3. That's the definition. But, you know, I see her, and I see what she's talking. She's going through this deal. It's so insane. But I don't want to talk about it. It's too early. I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes. And now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying. And President Xi of China, he is tough. Oh, boy, he's a furious kind of a guy. Great guy, but furious. He's dying to see He wants Sleepy Joe. Can you imagine those two guys in a room? Here's she, and here's Sleepy Joe. What? Where am I? Where am I? Just sign here, Sleepy Joe. Just sign here. Like you guys have been doing for the last 25 years. Let us keep taking $500 billion out of your account. Let's keep rebuilding China with America's money. That's stopping. A lot of things are stopping that are bad and foolish, crazy. But we won't let Democrats obliterate domestic industry and cripple working-class families with sky-high energy prices. Democrats are proposing to pack the courts with lawless activist judges. We have one. We have many. Look at some of these rulings. But lately, we're doing well. Lately, we're doing well. And today, I signed the 150th judge, federal judge. Think of it, 150, including Court of Appeals and 2 great Supreme Court justices. Think of that. And yesterday, coincidentally, we just won the asylum case, the big one, the big one. And we won it in a vote of 7-2. So that wasn't a very close one, Kevin. 7-2. And to me, so importantly, because we want to build that wall, we're going to build that wall, and we are building that wall because 3 months ago, we won the case on the wall. So that wall is being built, and it's being built rapidly. And we hope to have as much as 500 miles of wall built by the end of next year. 500 miles. That's a lot. That's about what we want. And that's being built despite the most obstructive group of people I've ever seen. And let me tell you, if they want to run their campaign on open borders, and if they want to run their campaign on some of the things they're saying, Green New Deal, and all it entails, I just say, let them go. Don't criticize it too much, please. Because one thing I've learned about politics, you can say something one day that's just absolutely insane, like they're saying, and then about 2 weeks later, say the exact opposite, and nobody will ever even call you on it. It's the craziest business. You're in the craziest business I've ever seen. It's crazy. You can do whatever you want, and then 2 weeks later, they'll say something different. So I want to bring them way down the pike before we start criticizing the Green New Deal. So I just want to say, because we get a lot of television watching tonight, even though I guess they should be watching the debate, but they're probably watching us. But we have a lot. See those cameras back there? We kept the reporters out, but we have those cameras. See those red bulbs? That means we're on live. But I will tell you this, the Green New Deal, we just want that thing to go as long as it can. Because anybody that can win office promoting the Green New Deal, they deserve to win. They got to be really good. They got to have the greatest line of crap anybody's ever had in the history of politics. Their delivery has to be perfect. Sometimes, unfortunately, delivery is more important than what you say, and theirs has to be. And I've always said about the Democrats, they're lousy politicians, but they have one thing that's incredible. They stick together. And you people have to stick together. And you do, I know you. We have more spirit with our congressmen and women than we've ever had, that I see. And you're in a small, you're just a little short of taking the majority. And you're going to take it. You're going to take the majority. And Dan Bishop and Greg Murphy, they'll tell you because they saw what happened. We went into those communities and they went out to vote like nobody's ever seen before. And I'm going to stop at every community that I can. We're going to make a list of 50 or so, and we'll stop there. I got a lot of energy. That's good. If you don't have the energy, you can forget that one. Hillary should make 2 stops and she'd say, I got to rest for a couple of weeks. Let me rest for a couple of weeks. No, she didn't like stairs. She didn't like airplanes. She didn't like a lot. She said, I don't have to go to Wisconsin to campaign. Her husband, Bill, who's a pro, said, you know, I saw what they're doing in Wisconsin. I don't like it. There's a lot of those Trump and Trump-Pence signs out there. There's a lot of them. I don't like it. Don't worry about it, darling. Wisconsin's going to be just fine. The winner of Wisconsin is Donald Trump. There's a lot of signs, he said. In Michigan, there's a lot of signs on the lawns. I was there. There's signs all over the place. You got to go back to Michigan more often. No, you don't understand. Michigan hasn't been won for decades by a Republican. My people tell me we're great. I don't know who her people were. Now that's called, if they ever threatened me with that I colluded with her people, that I could understand. That I could understand. Because they told her, don't go back to Michigan, darling, you're okay, don't go back. Donald Trump has won the great state of Michigan. Donald Trump has won great state of Pennsylvania, great state of North Carolina, the great state of Florida, the great state of South Carolina. Remember they said we were going to lose Texas. They didn't say that. You know, look, they're crooked as hell. But they did say, remember? They said Texas is in play. So being somewhat new to the game, like having done it for about 3 months, I said, let me ask you a question. What does it mean when they say it's in play? Sir, that means it's too close to call. Well, I'm like 6 or 7 months out there saying Texas is in play. So I said, I don't think so. I went to make a speech. We had a line that was miles long. I don't think so. And everybody else was telling me. A great guy got on in Texas, and he's wearing this big cowboy hat, this beautiful hat. I wish we could wear them. Nobody would ever look at my hair and criticize me. I'd wear that hat. I'd never take it off. You ever notice in Texas, they sit down and have breakfast here. They wear the hat. I like that. I would do that. I don't have to worry about hairspray. I don't have to worry about my hair blowing, beautifully blowing in the wind. And this guy's on television, a big, strong Texas guy. And they asked him about the race being so close. This is like 5 months before the election. He said, I don't know where you come from, but I come from Texas. And I'll tell you a couple of things, but one of the things I'll tell you for real, this race ain't close at all. Trump's going to win by a lot. So we get to the evening, and they're saying Texas is in play. It's too close. The polls close at 8 o'clock. Now, unless you have a huge commanding lead, you know, it takes an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours before they predict, right? Before they say who won. And the polls close. The polls have closed in Texas. Donald Trump has won the state of Texas. And for like 6 months, and then today I heard it again. I think it was boot edge edge. Boot edge edge. They said, think of it as boot and then edge edge, because nobody can pronounce this guy's name. Nobody. Boot edge edge. They say boot edge edge and Trump. What I've done for energy, if anybody beat me in Texas, I don't think anybody can beat me. I don't think Rockefeller can beat me in Texas. The real Rockefeller, the first Rockefeller, I think he'd have a hard time beating me in Texas. But anyway, they said, boot edge edge. Do you believe this guy? He's doing a rotten job running his own city. Lousy job. But they say Buttigieg is 2 points up in the state of Texas against President Trump. I said, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I don't worry about that too much. What do you think, Louis? Who's winning Texas? You think Buttigieg is winning Texas? I've had him up to here.